But I think we have an exciting team of very diverse background of people to make this an interesting session. I'll start with a quick introduction. I am Siddharth Jain, principal with A.T. Kearney. We do a lot of consulting work in the retail and e-commerce space, both with brick and mortar retailers and e-commerce retailers, as well as on the fulfillment side with logistics companies, the traditional ones, and again the e-tail focused logistics companies. Very excited to be here and with this esteemed panel. I would request a quick introduction starting with Ganesh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ganesh here, represent the Future Group. I head up their digital transformation, omni-channel, and the enterprise architecture. Been with them for almost close to a year, and quite excited to be here. Let's see how the panel unfolds and what we discuss today.
Thanks, Ganesh. My name is Tapas. My name is Tapas Malik. I am the CEO of PoojaShoppy.com. It's basically a platform. We deal in e-commerce. Also, we have offline stores, primarily in northern part of the country, but we are slowly expanding. We started last year in October with 2 stores, one in Delhi, another in Galleria, that is in Gurgaon. Now in 9 months, we have 15 stores, physical stores. Most of them company-owned, few of them are franchised. And we are also there in e-commerce platform as well. We are trying to put together ritual-related products and services. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ankit Jain from AskMeGrocery.com. I have been an investment banker for 8 years and then stepped into e-commerce by venturing my own online grocery store called bestatLowest.com, which is now recoined as AskMeGrocery.com. We are there in 35 cities, pan-India, and as the name goes, we deliver groceries and love.
Hi, I'm Shivanand. I head the new digital businesses for Madura. That's a 2-week-old designation. Otherwise, I set up trend and e-commerce practice for Madura Fashion and Lifestyle.
Hi, I'm Kushal, co-founder of FarEye. Basically started up 3 years back in 2013. It's a mobility platform for courier companies to manage their entire operations. We work with most of the leading logistic companies in the country. A little rare startup, which is profitable, expanding globally, and working in enterprise sector. And rest probably during the panel we can talk about.
Great. Thanks, Kushal. So as you see, a great variety of folks here. So the topic at hand that has been given to us is making the switch, prevalence of omni-channel retailing in India, if it does exist, and why it must be done now. Now, I must admit that when I saw this topic, I felt this is going to be a very difficult one to pull an interesting conversation on, because this is probably right now the most abused word in retail in India. Pretty much each and every conference, in this sector talks about, omni-channel, and I must admit we ourselves have released, multiple white papers and, documents on this topic, which might be at the end of the day saying a similar thing. So the question is, how much of it is jargon and, good to talk about things which the industry folks or technology folks or consultants want to just coin and talk about, and how much of it is reality. So that will be the theme that I would sort of use to trigger a discussion on this with the panel here. And I'll start off with the first very basic question. With all of you, coming from such different sectors and so close to the end consumer, are you really seeing the Indian consumer evolve and expect and demand an omni-channel experience? Is it more a futuristic thing or an imaginary thing, more a Western world thing, or do you really see it happening in India as we speak today? So I'll just go around. Please share your thoughts and your experiences. Ganesh, if you want to start off.
Sure. Interesting question, and I think the way we are saying it is, are the customers saying I need an omni-channel experience? No. They need a unified experience from the brand, right? And I think we all agree that the brand experiences across channels are broken. Some of it is intentional, some of it is legacy, some of it is we never knew what the customer wanted. So I think, yes, we are seeing customers ask us, give us a seamless experience. And seamless is know more about me, make it friction free, right? I think that's the way the customers are asking us to be a unified brand across channels.
What we believe in with online disruptions, digital disruptions worldwide, customers with each passing day, they are becoming more and more discerning. Okay, so they want some kind of experience which should be, good for them. They are very price sensitive, especially in Indian context. At the same time, they also need services. So this concept of omni-channel is here to stay, I believe. It's not a fad, I'll talk about our case when we started last year, when we actually, in the research stage, we wanted to start with only an e-commerce platform where we will give online puja kits and pandit services, astrologer services on demand. But while doing research, we came across many facts. We did market research, we spoke to people, customers. We realized this touch and fill concept is still prevalent. If you see, in India, still 95% of the organized retail is done through offline stores. Okay, only 5 to 6% of organized retail is done online. So therein, we decided to open up our offline stores, and in fact, to be very honest with you, we did not have this concept of omni-channel when we started. Later on, this concept evolved, and we are doing fairly decent. Our offline stores are doing much better business than our online e-commerce platform. So that's why I believe this omni-channel model is here to stay.
So the way I put this omni-channel word with my industry is that, in my industry there was nothing called online space. So people today also, we have to create an awareness that yes, grocery can be sourced online. So it was in the people's mind that grocery is a daily mundane job that a person, has to stand in lines and go to his kirana store. And by the way, some omni-channel portion did exist in grocery, because a person could call the kirana store and deliver it to his or her house, or you can just go there, walk around and shop. But yes, there was one mode which was missing in this entire piece, was the online experience. So like Ganesh said, that it's a brand experience which needs to count. So it's not only about the online space, it's about how you create that brand in the online space and how you build that trust in the consumer's mind, that if he's buying from online or offline, what are the differentiators? Is it the assortment? Is it the pricing? Is it the product? So there are umpteen number of questions that can be raised for each kind of channel. There would be deficiencies, some deficiencies in the offline model. There would be some deficiencies in the online model as well. So there comes the need of the omni-channel, that what a particular consumer perceives or what a particular consumer wants. There would be a set target of audience who need online kind of space to buy grocery. Whereas there would be some kind of audience who would just hate online experience in grocery, and they would say, I just want to walk around in Big Bazaar and then only shop. There would be some kind of target audience who would say, boss, I am calling my kirana store, they'll deliver it to my home. I don't care what they are selling. Is it underweight? It is overweight? Is it what I want or not? So all kind of target segments are there. In India, since in the retail segment, the grocery segment is the largest. So if you want to capture the grocery segment, you can't be one-man show, you can't command all the channels. So you have to pick and choose that, okay, I'll pick up the online piece, somebody else is picking up the offline piece, somebody comes up with a tele piece. So you don't know what the world is going to be.
Yeah. It's a reality in the sense that, consumers would like to have, as Ganesh said, a seamless experience. That's the basic hygiene which they're experiencing. Omni-channel is a buzzword. At the heart of it, consumer says you are one organization, I'm one consumer, recognize me across. So have one view of me across your different channels. At the same time, he says, get one view of the inventory what you have. So these are the two underlying things which the consumer expects. It has become inevitable for the organization of the brand owners, because they could live with this fragmented view of the inventory of the consumers. But with the onslaught of e-commerce, they no longer can live with that fragmented view of these two critical elements of their business. That's how this reality of having one view of consumers and one view of inventory has come. Later on, I think, from a pure Indian context, I don't think anybody has started the journey as such in a true omni-channel manner.
So one is obviously the experience part which you're talking about, that from a brand perspective, how do we give the experience to the consumer? The other necessary part comes in, which I guess is because of last few years of mobile penetration, is the loyalty and the trust. Specifically with everyone connected to internet, his options for every item he wants to purchase could be a product or a service. He can check the item, he can check the competitive product or services, reviews, and can switch from a brand in a fraction of a second. Now that's where, as a brand, it's getting important for them that let me be there wherever he needs me. Simple examples I'll share with you. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of Lenskart. They did it really well online, then suddenly the sales volume dropped down. They came into offline stores just to create the trust, and now the curve is expanding like anything. Something which I noticed recently at the airports, there's generally a problem with internet connectivity when I'm trying to book a taxi. Now, prepaid taxis have typically become old. It could be because of cost, convenience, whatever it is. We're trying to book Ola and Uber. With internet connectivity, a lot of people are facing that problem. What they've started is they've kept their resources over there. So if you're booking it, this guy will come to him. So you're booking from Uber, why don't you try Ola? I've got this Ola app and I can help you book with it. That's where, I guess, as an experience, if you give him that trust key, you can do it yourself as well, but you can do it offline and I'm there to help you. The trust changes.
Thanks, Kushal. I think some expected answers, some slightly unexpected answers. If I have to summarize and share my perspectives, mostly aligned, but a few places slightly different. I think number one, at least the way we look at it, we differentiate between what is a multi-channel strategy versus an omni-channel strategy. I think some of what was said was probably about being multi-channel, which is being present across different channels, because different users might prefer different channels to buy. But I think what we're really talking about, and some of the words which really sort of gelled with me was, I think Ganesh talked about unified and friction-free experience for a consumer. One view of me, I think that is something very critical. I mean, almost all brands have loyalty programs, but none of them are capable of recognizing the same consumer through two, if you have two brands, through loyalty programs of two different brands, and from online to offline. Why can't, a user logging onto an app of a brand and then walking into the store seamlessly get transitioned, because you are at the end of the day interacting with the same brand or the same company? I think that's the experience that the new gen consumer is really wanting for. The example of Ola, perfect. I mean, I want to use Ola, but my digital platform is not going to use. Here is a counter here which can sort of seamlessly transition me to that experience. One view of inventory was another interesting thing, where I think when I go to the next question, I suspect that might be one huge challenge that people might have. And I'll share an example of going to a store where I picked up an item and went to the reception, or the person at the cash counter, and said, I want to buy this. And the lady there keyed in and said, sorry, I can't sell it because this is out of stock. I said, okay, this is right in front of me in my hand. How can it be out of stock? She said, yes, but in my inventory system, it is out of stock, so I can't invoice this. So that is the extent to which our current inventory management is fragmented, and even in a store, a lot of retailers struggle to reconcile with what exists and what doesn't exist. And what we are talking about, what Shiva referred to, of nationally integrating all your stores, all your channels, and being able to seamlessly sell from one to another is probably what the consumer might expect, or some retailers might offer to differentiate in future. Which takes me to the next question, which is, clearly the consumer is evolving, but are the retailers evolving? There was some reference of today no one truly offering it, but what's the level of preparation that each of you see in the ecosystem in terms of working towards it? And then more importantly, what is the challenge? What are the key impediments that all of you are facing in your businesses?
I think challenge and impediments are probably strong words because, see, omni-channel is a business model that people are trying to figure out what works, right? And most of you here would agree that as you execute, the business models evolve, right? There's nothing written on stone as to what a business model is. I think when we start looking at the omni-channel journey, there are three big buckets that need to come together. Data, right? Content. You look at traditional retailers, the content is not rich because the platforms on which they were selling didn't want, or the consumers at that point in time didn't consume that data. The content, the richness of the content, right? Today, if I want to go and search saying, I want wheat that is organically grown with this amount of calorific input, I should be able to provide that. It's got nothing to do whether you are selling in the store or whether you are selling online, right? And the third piece is technology. The magic happens at the intersection of these three. The experience that you are talking is the intersection of these three. And the intersection of these three is very different for each business case, each category, and each retailer and each brand, right? That's what the journey is. And we are beginning to understand that because we now understand the customer better, right? As you understand the customer better, your journey gets more and more better, right? And for many retailers who have been around for quite some time, I think there's a lot to do to get the in-store commerce and the in-store digital quotients up. I mean, those boomers that you have, right? 50,000 divided by 2 tells you there are 25,000 footfalls. But whose head and whose heart was it? You never know. Right? So how do I increase my digital experience in the store? It's not about opening up more channels. It's about being consistent in the channels that you are. Most retailers have had more than one channel. I mean, customer service was always a channel. Yeah. Right? Let's not look at e-commerce coming and disrupting. But many retailers didn't use the channel to provide full commerce features or experiences to the customer. The third thing we are learning is it's not necessary to replicate all your commerce experience across all channels. Please understand that there are certain categories and certain experiences where the customer just wants to search online but want to come to the shop to complete their journey. And there are vice versa. So, technology is quite cheap right now, relatively speaking. So you just go and build full commerce solutions everywhere and you just, your inventory problem, because I've created an inventory master in the store, I've created an inventory master online, and I've created an inventory master on the marketplace. Now then you then say there's a job to reconcile. But hey, hang on, did you even have to do that? Right? I think bringing these three things together is important, and I think it's day zero of the journey, and the journey is quite exciting. Will we ever do it? I don't think it's a project, it's a journey.
As far as we are concerned, we are absolutely at the nascent stage of our operations. We're starting 10 months back. But in this short span of time, what we realize that, whenever, because we are into a very, very specific space, where, spirituality, religion is very close to someone's heart. So, and whenever you have, somebody wants to perform any kind of ritual, it's basically a last-minute decision for him or her. Okay, nobody plans to do a Satyanarayan Katha 1 month in advance. So when we started this, we thought we decided of a delivery time that would be 4 hours max. Okay, so suppose husband goes to an office, wife gives him a call. So by the time husband reaches home, the goods should, the stuff should reach him. So that was the concept we built upon. As far as, this challenges and concern is, there are 2 challenges that we faced in the last few months. One is definitely, technology is a big challenge. And second is inventory management, because, people expect, the consumers, they expect everything. If it is there in the store, it should be there on your website also. If it is there on the website, the same stuff should be there on your offline store as well. So that is where there was a big challenge which we are trying to overcome day in and day out, and we are, shortlisting which are the products. Instead of keeping very high number of SKUs. We are actually following this 80-20 principle, Pareto principle. And we are trying to consolidate, doing research, which are the products that we should keep actually, which would give us revenue, more volume, less of headache, less SKUs keeping. So I believe these are the two challenges that we faced in the last few months.
Well, the biggest challenge, as Siddharth told, is the inventory management. Be it any channel, but what you are showing is what you are selling, or what you are selling is what is being shown. Is the big issue in any channel, especially the online, because there are numerous instances when a person clicks to buy a product, but then when we find it at the back end, the product is no longer available, or is it out of stock, or it is expired, or the same size is not available, and people get finicky. I mean, there are instances when people go to deliver a particular product of say a 10 kg product, but say 2 5 kg products of the same brand, same product were delivered. The consumer refuses. No, I had ordered for a 10 kg, but I need that. So I mean, that's a consumer. So it's high time now that the entire retail market of India, it's being shifted from a seller's market to a consumer's market, and that's the basic root cause why this omni-channel and all those, all these conferences, why we are discussing this thing. Because consumer now is turning to be experimental, experiential. He wants to try new things, and be it any channel, he is okay with it. So the experience has to be good. That's the baseline. So if I, as a grocery guy, I am getting all the online orders, but if I keep my customer service also only online, like Uber, you can't call and just bang the phone on the customer service guy and say that, boss, you have not delivered this stuff, or the price was high, or the timing was late. So it won't work. People need voice to voice interaction when a consumer service is concerned. So I can't digitize everything. Maybe someday comes that I can digitize that as well, and I can reduce my manpower in the call center. But today I don't find that thing. Maybe in some cities, today also I have more orders on call rather than on website. So I am already an omni-channel. I am present on call as well as on website. So it depends, it evolves. So everything will evolve. We can't say that this channel will work, this channel won't work, or you have to be present in all channels to work. So it's nothing like that.
Yeah, I think one of the advantage to have Ganesh speak earlier, such a veteran in retail, is he covers almost all points, right? So I love to have it that way. To me, there are a couple of things which, first of all, to look at omni-channel as business, I don't really agree about it. It's an enabler at the end of the day, right? It's not a business in its own. Your business is your core, what you produce and what you sell. The challenges which a lot of offline organizations face is, first, they think omni-channel is going to save the consumer shift to online. It will never do that. The fact that you're thinking about omni-channel is consumer is either shifted for your category to online or is shifting. That's the first point. So culturally, the organization, if the category in which the organization is playing has moved online, has to become an e-com organization. That's my view. Because the moment you become an e-com organization, the points which Ganesh stressed upon that, basically it's cataloging. How do you digitize your product? How do you make it discoverable digitally? It's cataloging, right? So you start doing that, and that is seamlessly then woven into your organization workflow. So just to give you an example, when I launched Trendin, when I went in there to set up e-commerce, everybody told me, boss, product ka catalog to hota hai. My designers put it. There is a PLM, it's sab kuch hota hai. You just have to do an API sync with that. I said, fair enough. I called my fulfillment guy, operations guy, and catalog team, and I said, ye data hai bol rahe hain, hai kya? Boss, this is a tick in the box approach. For everything, they have filled the same thing because they have to, their KRA mandates that this product needs to be filled. These many fields in your PLM has to be filled. Now that doesn't suffice for e-commerce. It doesn't make your product discoverable within the site or your site SEO friendly, right? So fundamentally, the way I look at it is, if the category in which you're playing has become shoppable online, become an e-commerce company. Because that's when you will make, or you will do the right things to sell online and acquire consumers online. The other large issue which lot of brick and mortar companies face is the existing IT systems. Unfortunately, the IT guys sitting in large corporates, with no offenses meant, are not your new age consumer tech developers. That's a fundamental difference. They are IT system integrators. While your new age tech is about consumer tech, building it. So what is the difference when you look at an e-commerce company? They can seamlessly move to an offline state, because they understand that if they have to solve a problem, they just have to go to that engineer and say, yaar, mera ye problem isko solve kar do. He'll develop it. But in your legacy system, what happens is you have to go through 7 layers to your IT head, and then he will go down to 7 layers and then come up with a solution which is outdated, because in 7 months, it's outdated, right? So to me, to summarize, it's about, can you look at becoming an e-com organization mentally, so that 100% of your organization starts thinking of, how do I sell it digitally? How do I acquire consumers digitally? Right? It is not the savior of your offline business. It is to give an experience to your consumer so that he sticks to you, whether it is offline or online. There's no conflict there. You have only one single view of consumer. You have only one goal, to service the consumer. Whether he shops from your store or from online, it should not matter. Right? The third thing is tech. Start really re-looking at your tech org.
With all said, I wish I could invent more points, but being the last one, you do not get any other points as well. Let me give a few examples from the journey which I've seen in terms of an omni-channel company which has relatively had the success. In my opinion, I feel Domino's was one of the brands who could actually get into an omni-channel experience the earliest. They had these stores, they came through phone, then they came online, then they have the app as well. It's a 30-minute delivery guarantee across the platforms. You buy the pizza at the store, you buy it online. If you don't like it, they'll take it back. So that's more of an experience part, I still say, and which is the toughest than said. What has happened is most of the brands which started online, or the users who went online, the first reason was price. Still, there are huge amount of users who are buying online who discover the product offline. They go offline stores, take the look and feel of the product, check the price online, place the order at the cheapest platform. Even in omni-channel, e-commerce is one channel. Within the e-commerce, they check at Flipkart, Jabong, Myntra, Paytm, 7-8 platforms cheapest, and that's where the order is. So I guess first and foremost, the fight with the companies is to get that price consistency across the platforms. I buy it online, I buy it offline. If there is a convenience, there's a fee attached. If not, it's the same price I need to pay. Then as a user, I find it okay, it's same. On the other side, I would say the technology which you said, that's again the biggest problem. Specifically, so in our business model, we call it our targets are companies with CIOs. The guys which he was referring in his, with a deeper definition, where the systems have been old, they're not able to fulfill the present user's requirement. A change is more of developing something new and then of a change. That's where we guys as a business model also target and enable our platform on technology level. We see a lot of brands now, because of online experience, changing their offline patterns as well. So a lot of manufacturing brands who weren't looking at e-commerce space few years back, but with marketplace companies, their products were sold online. The consumers were liking the experience which was given through online. They know when the product will be delivered. They know there's a return functionality available. Now in the offline world, also they are trying to create the same experience. So that's where the shift is. there are a lot of good things which brands were able to put it online. They need to push back those features on offline. And same way from offline to online in terms of look and feel.
Thanks. I think clearly we need to change the order in which we go around, because otherwise everyone is going to complain about Ganesh. But I think agree to almost everything here. One thing which
Actually,
I...
we were not complaining. We like it.
Okay, I'll make sure you don't like it this time, because I'll start from here. But one thing especially, all of you can add, but Shiva, Ganesh, given that you're from large brick and mortar, originally brick and mortar retailers, one thing which I didn't hear, but at least I feel is also an impediment is, while we're talking about making the experience for the consumer seamless, I think your organization structures are not seamless across channels. I see people who head sales for the e-commerce channel, and people who are heading sales for the brick and mortar channel, or the guy in the store who's selling in that store is probably, his KPI is the sales that happen in the store. And what if the consumer walks into that store and then buys on the app in the store and gets it delivered at home? Is he getting credit for that? So do you feel the org structure, the KPI and reporting systems, the way our organization, the functions are collaborating across channels is equipped today to truly deliver, even if my IT systems get fixed and the technology gets fixed? Do you see that softer aspect as also being something important to fix? And I'll look here. Please, Kushal, if you have. Give them the chance. Absolutely, I'm sure.
So I guess one thing which I closely relate to Omni-Channel is something called as a digital transformation, and which is directly proportional to the organization behavior as well, which you rightly pointed out. And trust me, that's one of the biggest bottlenecks for most of the traditional MNCs, big houses who've been there for decades, now to get into e-commerce as a channel, because the way organization has been designed, the way KPIs have been designed, they cannot meet the present multi-channel or an omni-channel thing. So there's a lot of reluctance inside the organization as well, because one thing what we're talking about from an omni-channel, we want inventory to be visible. We want price consistency. So basically we're talking about transparency, that each and every leg needs to be transparent. Once you create this transparency within the organization, do organization want it? Is a question which I have it. We work with a lot of companies to enable them to digitally transform to get their entire operations on mobile. While it looks really fantastic, there are productivity measures available, but still a lot of time the files are flowing inside the company because there are direct bottlenecks or people don't want it. A lot of people feel they lose their job because of transparency and transformation coming in. The reportings would typically not there. If you have exact information on inventory, exact information on delivery standards for your e-commerce, offline, online orders, a lot of roles within the company will disappear.
As I mentioned, one of the biggest things is about culture, right? About the overall organization. But before that, fundamentally, a brand or a retailer or a service is here to service the consumer, right? The moment, rest all are enablers. So the fact that somebody says that, there are three different channels, I have to satisfy this guy, I have to satisfy this guy, I have to take care. No. Fundamentally, our aim is to satisfy the consumer, right? Second is, which is inward looking, is what is the most profitable channel? And why should I not move my consumer? If that also happens to be most convenient, then why should I not move the consumer to that channel? Right? Now, one is in terms of I looking at my sole objective being serviceable or being good to the consumer, doing good to consumer. Second, for me, from a profitable perspective, move the consumer to the most profitable channel. So I really don't agree that price parity is the fundamental thing which the consumer is looking at. Because if you really look at, so let's look at an example of the banking industry. Over the last 5 to 7 years, everybody, every single bank has pushed us to move to the online way of doing banking. And in most of the cases, they have incentivized us. They have given some discounts or some points into your credit card or some other points which you can use to buy something else. Now, in a way, it is actually hurting their overall offline channel. They should be feeling threatened, right? But that's not how we as consumers looked at it. We felt that's the most convenient thing, let me go there. Having got hooked there, would you like to go back to that 1970s model, right? So the same way, if your category has become online friendly from a shopping perspective, I would say that a little price difference to incentivize the consumer to switch to this most efficient or more efficient mode of shopping isn't bad, because in the long run, if you look at, I have been an online guy or a strategic investment banking guy. I have never been an offline retailer in my life, except for my first job, wherein I set up on offline retail. To me, offline retail is a very inefficient way of doing business, unless until your category requires touch and feel. Otherwise, there is a lot of value leakage which could have typically passed to the consumers directly or retained by you, right? Now, if you look at that fundamental principle and then say, I'm going to incentivize consumers to move online and do the business, because the advantages of moving online is not just your cost, but your ability to do wonders with the data, right? You can predict, for an apparel company, we can predict, for example, last December, Trendin could predict to the offline guys that linen is going to be very big this summer. And that's the reality. Because since December, the search queries of this particular garment started increasing, right? Now, predictability into the future trend, predictability in terms of trying to improve your inventory turns itself is extremely high. Because data flow more or less is real time. It's just that culturally, as an organization, are you equipping yourself to look at the data at real time and act on it? So culture comes extremely important. That's why I keep harping on this, that, become an e-com first. Become e-com first. You will try to understand, you will understand what is it that is making your product sell, or how do you sell it better. Then you will start knowing the power of this data, which when converted into intelligence gets into your product design itself, right?
So a tough one for me, and this question was not discussed backstage, so it's a new one. So the way I look at this is the way Ask Me group is structured. Traditionally, it has, as you all might know, that it owns Tata Yellow Pages as well. So it's an old age company with a new face, so every 2-3 years. So traditionally, it has all those people who have gone to small SMEs, brick and mortar shops to get listed, sell that premium listings, APLs, what we call golden, platinum, diamond, and all that stuff. And then it gradually graduated itself to a just dial model that, okay, now online people can view their listings and all that stuff, from the print to online. Then they graduated to e-commerce stuff. And they said that why only list those people? Why don't we sell their products as well when we have those people on board with us? Then it comes that why we sell nationally, why can't we sell hyper locally, and let's acquire this grocery boys and do the business. Then comes the stage that, okay, why don't we enter into the furniture space as well? People are the same. The sales force that Ask Me has today as well, who is going and signing up my retailers, or who is going and signing up the furniture manufacturers, are the same. Or when we have launched our wallet, then going to the SMEs, those people are same. So that organizational shift happens within the organization if you want to. There is a reluctance, there is a resistance, I'm not doubting that, but people can shift if they want to and if the business requires. That's the only space. And I have only 1 minute, so I think Ganesh and Malik will take some time.
Yeah, thank you. I'll make it very short. See, ours, as I said, it's a basically 100 employee company and very small company. We have a very straight kind of structure here, and but yeah, there are challenges there as well, because we recently started this B2B sections where we got into this FMCG as well, and we have president FMCG. Then the same guy is also looking after other aspects. But what I believe in any organization, be it big or small, what matters is, how the information flows from top to bottom, how seamlessly information flows. The way, in case of consumer as well, the key is information flow, and the same is the case in a company as well. That's what I believe in.
How many seconds do I have?
You're eating to the
Yeah.
tea time.
Yeah.
So.
So I think we can go on this topic for next few hours or the cows come home, right? Culture has always been part of any discussion, any transformation, any change, and there are different aspects to culture that you can keep debating whether it's right or wrong. I just wanted to bring forth 3 points, which is the organizations that were created for the industrial era, right, were based on 2 premises, on economies of scale and value chain. The glue there was the transaction cost. The transaction cost, if you break it down, is the cost of assimilating information and cost of distributing information. Technology has broken that cost. And you call it data, you call it information, doesn't really matter. So as long as you are making decisions based on data, decisions based on what the customers are telling you, as long as you are making decisions based on what the customers want, structures will change. It's not going to change overnight, but I think that's the glue, right? If you want to go through this transformation, be data focused, right? And for those of you who know, Kodak didn't die because of technology. Kodak never died because of technology. In fact, they had a digital camera much before a digital camera was thought of. They died because they didn't do things right. They didn't hear the customers right. They saw their online business as an extension of their offline business. In fact, they had a photo sharing website, but they didn't create it as memory sharing websites, but just an FTP site where people could upload photographs. And so hear what the customers are saying, then structures will manifest to enable that business. So data is very important.
Great.
All right.
Thanks. I think we have run out of time, but should we take at least 1 or 2 max questions from the audience if there are?
Actually, yes, we could. All right. Okay.
Hi. This question is targeted to Ankit, not really targeted, but asked to Ankit. You see, we understand that omni-channel is required, and as there was a very good example of Lenskart. So it's required not for for happiness. It is required because it is required for the sustainability of the total business model. And it is to be done now because we need to be sustainable today. We need to survive today. But to do that, there would be some amount of money which is required. Like for Lenskart, if they needed to open offline store, they needed money. I mean, it can't be done without money. And the way we are seeing the funding environment today, when even guys like Snapdeal, Flipkart, they're struggling for money. So how do you see, I mean, in the grocery store, and especially on the other hand, the hyper locals like, say, Pepper Tap and Local Bania, they're going off the radar. So how do you see this happening or playing in your favor or against you for the funding, or do you have enough internal funding going forward, or how do you see it?
So I was into investment banking for 8 long years. So funding on what basis will be done, was done, I won't divulge. But one point is there that if the business grows too fast, chances are that it falls also too fast. Secondly, I don't find any brick and mortar retailer, be it any big player, who has broken even in less than 3 years. Not even a small grocery shop. If you put into place its real estate cost. So nobody breaks even before that. But if the investors think that it can break even in an year's time, so there is no magic wand in my hand or in anybody's hand that it can be done. They invested on a basis of idea. If the execution is right, the person is ready to adapt to changing business scenario. He is ready to evolve and bring in more things, be it omni-channel, be it sticking to his own channel, that doesn't matter. But if he is giving the right product, right experience, and sorting the right problem of the consumer, there should not be any dearth of capital in India as of now. That's my take.